Hey there viewers, Eric O here, Self-Made Auto. Got a new vehicle to work on today. I've got this 2001 Dodge Dakota. It's got the big 4.7 liter in it. And the lady says that the check engine light is on, but when I pulled it in, it was not on. So anyhow, I called her to find out the rest of the story, and it's kind of an odd story, but she said she ran over a ladder. I don't know how you run over a ladder, but she ran over a ladder, and ever since she ran over a ladder, the engine light's been coming on and off. So whether or not running over the ladder has anything to do with it, I don't know. It's got a pretty wicked exhaust leak, and that's the other thing she commented on is when she comes to a stop sign, she has to turn the heater off because otherwise it fills the cabin full of exhaust fumes, and then she gets sleepy. It's just what you want coming at you down the other road, lady. So anyhow, I suspect probably the engine light and the massive exhaust leak are going to be related, but I don't know. So let's pull the codes out of it, see what codes are in it, and then we'll go from there. All right, got her all plugged in here, so let's see what codes we have. Two codes, P0700, so we got a code in the transmission control module, and we've got this code here at P0171, lean. So yeah, that's probably going to be related to this exhaust leak. It's pretty substantial. Let's see what code we have in the transmission. Low reverse pressure switch circuit code, so something else we can track down. That's probably not related to the exhaust leak. Alright, anyhow, let's look at this one first. She just dropped it off, so it's a little bit warmed up right now. Let's get some data pulled up here. We're going to look at Upstream O2 Sensors, and we'll look at some short-term fuel trim. Where's the other one? Upstream, upstreams, downstreams. Alright, that should be enough to look at in regards to the lean running condition. Alright, I'm going to go fire this beast up. There's that upstream, and there's that upstream. Get our fuel trimmed up here. Let's see, short term. Alright, so we got our fuel trims. Got our O2 sensors here. The left one is showing pretty darn lean. Of course, that could be, it's probably hard to tell with the exhaust leak there on the computer here, but it's pretty bad. It's loud. You can see our fuel trim here on the left side of the engine is slightly higher than it is on the right side, so our code was a P0171, so being a V8 Dodge, I believe the number one cylinder is on the driver's side, so that would only make sense. And let's probably ought to go see where this exhaust leak is. It sounds to me like it's on the driver's side, but it's loud. So this may all make sense why we were getting a really choppy, erratic reading here out of the O2 sensor, and fuel trim's a little bit higher. So I say we go check out this exhaust leak and see if it has anything to do with this before we get too excited. I just drive it. I think it sounds pretty cool. But it sounds like it's busted off right at the manifold. Yeah, basically it's equipped with a flamethrower package. This broke right off at the manifold. Looks like the bolts that hold the flange to the manifold are busted, and I think on these Dodges it's just a nut and a bolt. So probably not that big a deal. We'll see if the flange is all rotted out or what the story is, and I think we're gonna have to fix that before we chase down any lean code. So must be getting a little bit of extra oxygen in that pipe. It stinks, that's for sure. And this truck's been pretty used and abused. It burns a lot of oil, so You can see just in that little, I don't know if you can see it when I first snapped the throttle, but she blew out the old cloud of smoke. I mean, you let this truck sit and idle for 5 minutes, boy, you give her some gas, the old valve seals must be just gone or non-existent, because she'll blow a pretty blue cloud of smoke. So, well, get up in here, let's see what's broke. Got her up in the air. I'm assuming the four-wheel drive doesn't work that well. Kind of missing something under here. But the piece we came to look at, where is it? There it is, exhaust flange. It's pretty much non-existent. The bolts aren't broke, but the entire inside of the flange here is MIA, so it's pretty well rotted. So this converter on this side just kind of along for the ride. They do make, because this thing's kind of a toilet, they do make a clampo flange. I've seen those things before, but yes, she's toast. Probably be the best bet, you know, see if we can locate one of those laminated flanges. I don't know if you guys seen those or not, but kind of like they're like a two-piece deal. I'll use my little claw fingers. But yeah, you basically hook them together, you slide them over the pipe, you slide them up, stick a couple bolts in them, and I don't know what they call them, clampo flanges or laminated flanges, but I call them Mickey Mouse flanges. But you know, it'd be better than you know, this thing's California emissions. It's probably a $1,200 Y pipe, you know, with converters, and you know, realistically, the only thing wrong with it is the flange. So I'm gonna see if I can locate a two-piece flange, clampo flange, laminated flange, whatever you want to call it, and see if we can't get that bolted back up, because it's probably not really a good idea to drive it like it is, but who knows, she's probably been driving it like this for a while, so you don't want anybody falling asleep driving down the road. Anyhow, I'll let you know how I make out here in a second. So here's the status update. I just called, I called on Napa first. They don't make any vehicle specific flanges, repair flanges. A lot of times you can look them up like that, but long story short, I called Walker Exhaust and got the OEM dimensions on the flange on the Y pipe that they sell, and they claim they don't make a flange that fits these with the exact dimensions, blah, blah, blah. So anyhow, so I used their book to look up flanges, and they have one that's within like a 32nd of an inch hole spacing wise. And usually these things come and the holes are wallered out in them pretty good, so what the heck. Like I said, this thing's pretty rough shape, so it's a two-piece flange. You just take the two halves, bolt it together, stick a couple bolts in it, and 1-2 barbecue. So I'm gonna let it cool down, go eat some lunch, probably do 50 other things. We'll come back, bolt it back together, and then look at the data again and see if it fixed our lean condition. At any rate, maybe it'll stop the fumes from entering the cabin area. So, all right, be back in just 1 second. I'm back, ate my lunch. I feel like I need to go sit in that chair over there and take a nap. While I was eating lunch, they dropped off my flange. So there's the number, 36131. It's a Walker number. And this should work, according to my best estimation. Give you the rundown on this in case you've never used any of these jerry-rigging devices here. But you have a two-piece flange. Essentially what we're gonna do is torch off the old one, stick this one on. Comes with a couple bolts. Stick the bolts in it, we'll bolt it together, and now we've got a new flange without having to buy a big expensive converter. And this thing's gonna be all quiet, even though I think it sounds pretty sweet right now. But to be honest with you, I know when we put this back on, it's probably still gonna have some ticking. It's not gonna be near as bad as it is now, but these 4.7s are really prone to breaking the manifold bolts and stuff like that. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get it together, it still has a tick. So at any rate, I'm gonna chop this out of there. I'm not gonna record it because you can't hardly see it, let alone get the camera up in there with a torch. So just have to take my word for it. I'm gonna change it. I'll show you when I'm done. Got the new flange in. Let me grab my flashlight here. So let's see. Oh, that's bright. That's what it looks like up top. if we get under here and have a look on this side. It's hard to see this thing up in there, but you get the idea. Just put a couple new bolts down through it. I used some 5/16 by 2.5 inch bolts that I had in stock up in our bolt bin. So pretty much just clamped it on there and bolted it in. Pretty simple task. Kind of difficult to get your two hands wedged up in there to tighten it up, but I managed. So, here's the old flange. It's 2-piece now also. I just cut it out of there, so but you can see the whole center of it is gone. So that's junk. They are just a nut and a bolt on these Dodges. I was pretty sure they were. So here's the bolt that was in the one side. There's the hex head of it. There's the other one. I just chopped those off and then heated up the flange, or the holes that they go through, and then went up in there with a old long barrel and just got all silly with it. All right, let's fire it up, see if it works. Well, now it just sounds like all the rest of them. I'm surprised it's not ticking. I thought for sure this thing was going to have some bad manifolds, but she's quiet now. Might as well look at some data while we're right here. I'm willing to bet she's going to be happy. Pretty cheap fix, really. Oh, look at that. Kept all of our data stream. Let's see. So our long term, let's see, where's our short term here? Left short term is now in the negatives, because it was currently in the positives. So let's see what our O2s look like now. And look at that. So you can probably just flick back to the beginning of the video, or I could just crop it in here at some point of what it used to look like. But I think you will quickly see that that O2 sensor now looks much better. Our fuel trim is yanking her back negative to compensate for our positive long-term fuel trim, and if we clear the codes, I'm sure that'll go back to 0. So I'm going to do that because I neglected to do that in one video and I got in big trouble. Let me shut this off. I cleared the codes, reset the adaptive fuel memory, and I'm going to go ahead and restart it. Now we'll see where the fuel trim's at, and I won't get myself in trouble on this video for making a comment. I'll warm up here. This should fix our P0171, so getting a little bit of false air. I wish there was a way on these scanners that you could reset the min-max values here. You really can't. You got this button down here where you can clear the buffer where it records, but there's no way to clear the min-max until you, at least that I know of. I don't know, you guys have already taught me some tricks with this that I didn't know about. Anyhow, we can see our fuel trim. This is what we were after ultimately. We wanted to look at our short-term fuel trims on both sides, and we can see that it is running wonderfully. Of course, I'm probably gonna, I didn't have the long-term fuel trims pulled up in the first set of the videos. Maybe I did on the left side. I don't know why I didn't have the right side. I didn't click it, but I can kick her up on a little bit of a faster idle. This thing's so quiet, it kind of reminds me of a Prius. Yep, definitely sounds like a hybrid. Well, I'm going to have to say we've got a confirmed fix here. We've got good O2 sensor activity. Our fuel trim is good now on the left bank. I'm going to go ahead and drive it and see if I can figure out what's going on with that transmission code, if anything. And I'll take it from there. So that does it for me on this one, viewers. I'm going to wrap this video up. Like I say, I'm going to take her for a little shimmy and make sure everything's good and write the bill up and give this lady a call and give her the good news. I think this is a pretty good fix. You know, I usually don't use like these little helpline repair type item things, but you know, it's only feasible on this. You know, you've got probably a $1,200 converter or some foolish thing. Here in New York, we got to use these CARB certified converters. So You know, buying a Y pipe simply for a broken flange, that's really kind of out of the question. So I think this little clamp a flange or split flange or whatever you want to call it seemed to kind of work here, even though technically it wasn't the right one. I don't know, it fit, it looks good, it works. So check us out on Facebook, like us there. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up, and just remember, viewers, if I can do it, you can do it. So thanks for watching.